Do your children know where food comes from?
Welcome to Parenting Matters Now, a source of parenting advice a few minutes at a time.
Hi, this is Dr. Roger Smith with Parenting Matters Now. I'm sitting here in front of this model of a fish at a campground, and it made me think about the fact that lots of times children do not know where their food comes from or actually what's involved in getting the food. They just go to a counter and order something, and the food appears, and they eat it. They choose what they like and what they don't like, but never think about the process of how the food gets to them. And it's so important for them to understand some of the things that are involved in their food coming to them. There's a story in one of, I think Barbara Kingsolver wrote some books, and one of her books, it made reference to her husband was doing some gardening in the front of their house, and children were walking by, and he asked them, they were curious about what he was doing, digging in the dirt. He told them that he was growing food, and they were shocked that you could pull food out of the dirt. And so he asked them the questions, he showed them what he was growing. I think he was growing carrots and radishes and different things. And he asked them, what else do you think that I could plant? And they said, spaghetti. It underscores the concept that children sometimes don't know what's involved in how their food gets to them. And so let's talk about the fish here. I grew up in the country, and there were lots of fishermen, and I did do some fishing, but even to this day, it's remarkable to me whenever we catch a fish and that we are preparing to cook it, that the cleaning of the fish and the actual taking the meat from the fish to cook still is a little bit shocking to me. But yet our children need to see some of the process, whether it's preparing meat. Maybe you don't live in the country. You can take them to a meat market and see the process of them preparing the cuts of meat or the hamburger meat that they consume. And so where you can find opportunities to show your children the process of acquiring food, going to a farmer's market, and asking them, "Can we visit your farm? Can we visit your where you're gathering these goods, picking fruit from a tree?" All of those things help to connect children who are becoming adults, helps to connect them to their food source. And it's so important to understand some of that, not all of it. When none of us involve or understand all of it, but understanding some of it. Even seasonings. Where does salt come from? What is pepper? How do we get pepper? Any number of seasonings, herbs that are used in cooking, where you can find an opportunity, find a friend who is gardening, find someone who produces some component of food, and let your children experience that. Even if they don't realize they're learning something, they see it, they feel it, they smell it. It involves all the senses, and is so important as they're growing and maturing that they understand the process of, whether you're catching a fish and catching your supper, so to speak, or you're growing it from the earth. Introduce your children to sources of food, and it's actually fun and interesting for them to learn those things. So find an opportunity to show your children where their food comes from. This is Dr. Roger Smith with Parenting Matters Now.
Subscribe to Parenting Matters Now for more advice, or go to rogersmithmd.com to search for more topics. See you next time.